As I said, we're really entering now the business end of the campaign, and given the high number of undecideds, even with this late shift in the polls to Labor, I wouldn't be counting the Liberals out. Last night we had the third and final debate. This one was much better on Channel 7, as the host Mark Riley certainly kept them honest and civil. The crowd scored it for the Labor leader, although I'd question how many that were interviewed on camera as I watched it after the debate were actually really undecided voters. That said, the opposition leader's tone was better than the Prime Minister's, but the Prime Minister was certainly far better on the detail than his opponent. So how did it all play out today? Trudy McIntosh was with the opposition leader in Brisbane. She's on the move, so as we go to air, she has filed this report a short while ago.
Anthony Albanese swapped New South Wales for Queensland today, campaigning first in central Queensland in Gladstone at an oil refinery. He had a $100 million announcement there for a battery, but the focus was on the seat of Flynn. It's held by the Liberals on a margin of just over 8%, but there's no incumbent there at the moment, Ken O'Dowd retiring, and so Anthony Albanese on the ground alongside his Labor candidate there, the ex-Gladstone Mayor, Matt Burnett. The poll in the Australian today says Labor is very close in terms of the primary vote in the seat of Flynn, but the preferences for One Nation and United Australia Party will be crucial in determining this seat. Anthony Albanese declared today that Flynn will be won by Labor at this election, a pretty bold claim given the fact that it's on an 8% margin. He then flew here to where I am in Brisbane. This is the most marginal seat in the state, the seat of Lilly. The MP here, Annika Wells, hopeful she can hold on to this crucial seat. Anthony Albanese here at pre-poll very briefly in the afternoon. We're now about to get on another flight. Anthony Albanese will be heading into state, we believe, later today before picking up the campaign again tomorrow.
And Andrea Crothers, she was travelling with the Prime Minister. You saw her there at the bowls in the marginal seat of Bass in Tasmania. She also filed this report. She's in the air as well.
Peter, 9 days of the election left to go. The Prime Minister is again picking up the pace, heading to northern Tasmania to seats for the fourth time, Bass and Lyons. A stop there saw him unexpectedly run into a disgruntled voter, Australia's former High Commissioner to Solomon Islands. Trevor Sofield wanted to tell the Prime Minister he'd lost his vote over the handling of the South Pacific relations.
I find it incomprehensible that we did not know in advance what was happening in the Solomon Islands this time. It just couldn't have happened previously.
Do you think Maurice Payne should have gone to the Solomon Islands rather than Zed Sezelja?
Of course. But she should have been there before. She hasn't been there since 2019. However we work with them, we're working in conjunction. We're not bullying them. We're not trying to drive something on them from above downwards. It's really a matter of working right at that equal partnership level.
The Prime Minister can't afford to lose too many votes in Bass. It's the coalition's most marginal electorate, held on a wafer-thin margin of 0.4%. The notorious swing seat sees MPs often tossed out after one term. This time, Liberal Bridget Archer is up against Labor's former MP. It was here the PM pledged $46 million towards mental health and suicide prevention services. And for Archer, it's personal.
I have suffered from sort of poor mental health for a lot of my life. I have anxiety and panic disorders, and having a bit of a panic attack when I walked in here this morning.
Personal to the protection of all Australians. Archer has notably crossed the floor of Parliament in a bid to protect gay and trans students from discrimination at the hands of religious schools. Her views in stark contrast to the PM's, who made religious freedoms a focal point of the 2019 election campaign. This election campaign a flashpoint on a theme, the treatment of transgender Australians.
Well, my concern for the mental health of all Australians, I'm concerned for the mental health of all Australians, but we know, and I have spoken previously, that LGBTIQ community members are some 15 times more likely to suffer mental health challenges and be at risk of suicide.
The Prime Minister heads to Melbourne tonight, where he'll work to sandbag seats tomorrow.